Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over my top two holdings. These two holdings are long-term investments. It's my top two long-term investments to be investing in, where most of my capital is allocated in. Now before we get into that, if you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button. You know it really helps the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, definitely subscribe. We're going to be giving AirPods away when we hit 2,000 subscribers. We are not that far away. Now, many stocks present really good deals in the market, but there are only a few stocks that can claim victory in categories. And what makes these stocks so special is they are best in class as far as their product goes. They are fast pace of innovation companies. They have great leadership, and they have a history of high quality performance usually. Now, these stocks are stocks that I would feel comfortable having all my money in, and I could sleep easy. These two stocks that we're going to be talking about are stocks that at times I have had all my money in certain occasions, and I currently have massive allocations in each of these stocks, which we'll discuss at the end of the video. Now, the reason I sleep easy with holding stocks like these are because these stocks are working on a transformative product or service that it's going to play out over decades, not over quarters. It's not something you have to pay attention to month by month or quarter by quarter. It's a multi-year time horizon. Now, I do want to just say these are some honorable mentions that we're going to name here, and you can see them on the screen now, but these are not the stocks that I'm going to be talking about. And at the time of recording, just to show you guys, I mean, a lot of these stocks were up really great today. I know you guys are going to be seeing this on Wednesday, but this was recorded yesterday, Tuesday. So anyways, Robinhood, amazing company for the long run. I would feel very confident that my money will go up over time. This will be over $100 billion company. That said, it is too early in the game. The profits aren't there yet, and there is so much competition in the space that it's not something I could sleep easy. Can I hold it for the long run? Of course, and I am. Now, as far as Corsair, I think Corsair is an amazing company. I was so happy to see it over up 4% today. I think that this stock is extremely undervalued. That said, it is a stock I have to watch. I have to make sure every 3 months that the earnings reports are good, that the progress is continuing, that cloud computing is not going to destroy them, that they are expanding verticals. There's a lot of checking up on that company, and I don't think I could sleep easy and not look at the earnings for years on to go. That's just something I don't think I could do with Corsair as much as I think it is a good deal. Next up, Penn Gaming. Penn is an amazing company. I think it is the best online gambling, online sportsbook company there is. I think their marketing is incredible. I like it more than MGM. I like it more than Las Vegas Sands, and I like it more than DraftKings. That said, I do think it is something you have to watch. It's such a competitive space. You want to make sure that they continue to perform better than everyone else. I could not sleep easy and just not look at it for the next 10 years. Can I hold it for the next 10 years? Sure, but I have to check each earnings report because what they're working on, although it's so great, the competition is massive, and I am not 100% certain that they can remain the leader for the long run. Now, as far as Alibaba, amazing company, nothing bad to say about it. It meets almost every requirement other than the fact that it's not a US company. The fact that there's so much regulation going on and crazy things happening in China is the only reason it would not be on that list as a stock I can just sleep for the next 10 years and know that this is going to be fine. Now, we could go over the details about all of these different companies, but basically, as far as the big guys, the Facebooks, the Amazons, the Googles, the Apples, these companies have massive multi-trillion dollars, in some cases $1-2 trillion market caps. I think that these companies are amazing companies, amazing growth. I'd feel very comfortable holding them, but the only thing that separates them from the companies that I'm going to be talking about is that the future, I don't believe, is as bright and as disruptive to the current business as for the two companies I'm going to pick. So Google's main business, search, is amazing. Their advertising, basically killer advertising across search on Google, YouTube, etc. But their future prospects, although amazing prospects to come from many things, in comparison to what they currently are right now, it's just, maybe they double over the long run. Who knows? Could I feel safe? Yes. They fit everything except for the fact that I just don't believe there is as much potential for future growth as the two companies, and that could basically be said across of most big tech. Now, although I hold most of these companies, now it's time to talk about the first pick, Tesla. Tesla is the first company that I have no issue holding massive amounts of money in, and I don't feel any worry sleeping this for the next 10 years, not worrying about it. I don't have to check the earnings reports quarter by quarter. That said, of course I do. I look forward to them, but I would have no problem if I could not look at my account and in 10 years I would open it up and all I had was Tesla in it. I feel very confident that I would outperform the market by a significant amount. So first pick is Tesla. Now, best in class as far as product. Their products are best in class. There's no comparison as far as performance, range, technology. Across the board, Tesla beats all the competitors. So the first thing that makes it a best in class product is the performance. A clear just fact to prove it has the best performance is if you go 0 to 60 speed. Well, the new Model S is the only production car to ever break 2 seconds in 0 to 60. It does 0 to 60, the Model S Plaid, in 1.99 seconds. The only car worldwide, as far as being produced and being able to be bought by regular customers, that breaks the 2-second barrier. Their new Roadster, which comes out next year, is going to be even faster. The base model will be faster, and there's a SpaceX package. Just to show it off, check out this video.
Oh my God! Woo! Holy smokes! Holy smokes! Holy smokes! Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy Isn't that insane? It's insane!
That literally is insane. Now let's discuss range. As far as EPA miles per kilowatt hour, I think that's the best way to look at it, because here, you could have a car that has a ton of range and a car that doesn't have as much, but all they did was just put more batteries in it. So it's not about how much range a car has, but it's about how much range you get per kilowatt hour. That's the basically efficiency of these batteries. The Model Y all-wheel drive is destroying the competition across the board. For example, the next best one was the Jaguar I-Pace, which had, it looks like, around 2.7 miles, whereas the Model Y has over 4 miles per kilowatt hour. And this is before the 4680 cells that they're working on, which is going to dramatically increase their lead ahead of everybody else. As far as the technology that makes them basically best product out of all products in that category, Teslas are basically computers on wheels. Now, this would not even be that impressive to watch things like Netflix in your car or surf the internet, etc., until you realize that no other car company can do such simple things. Like even a cheap tablet can basically allow you to watch Netflix on it, yet you can buy a $100,000 Mercedes and it doesn't have the capability to surf the web or watch Netflix or anything like that. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about that, but why are all these car companies so far behind? And the reason they're so far behind is because they just can't attract the right software talent and capabilities to basically build their own operating system in the car with basically a good user interface. They just don't have good talents. Good talent, good software engineers don't want to work for GM or Ford or these companies. They want to work for Tesla, Apple, Google, etc. They want to work for big companies, tech companies, and they look at Tesla as an autonomous tech company, not just a car company, an AI company. Now, this is also the only car that can get over-the-air updates, and this is a huge benefit. Over-the-air updates are extremely important for fixing issues where you wouldn't have to bring the car in, for having your car get better over time. And this is a simple thing. When you buy an iPhone, you know that it's going to get new software and it's going to continue to update to get better, fix bugs, etc. But when you buy a car with any other car other than a Tesla, the day you buy it, it's the best it's ever going to be. It will only get worse from there. For a Tesla, the day you buy it is the worst it's going to be. You might be the happiest in that moment, but it is the worst it's going to be. It will get continuously updated and get better and smarter over time. Now, as time progresses, eventually they're going to release a full app store. There's already apps in the car, but a app store for developers. The autonomous capabilities from FSD Beta that we've been seeing are insane. We'll get into that a little later. But the bottom line is the technology aspect proves that this car is best in class across the board, performance, range, and technology compared to any other car on the market. It's not even a question. It's not even close. And that doesn't even cover the ecosystem you get when you get one of these cars, like the superchargers, etc. Now, as far as some numbers, we're not going to go deep into them here, but Over long periods of time, Tesla has 50% or greater year-over-year growth. That has been the history, and Elon Musk has quoted saying going forward till 2030, he expects them to do 50% year-over-year growth on average, with a higher percentage in the earlier years, and then it coming down in the later years to average out at 50%. Now, this is obviously founder-led by Elon Musk, and the best talent in the world work at Tesla. Tesla, I forget what study it was, I can look into it, or any of you can look deeper into it, but basically Tesla and SpaceX were voted two of the best places, I think it was literally number 1 and number 2, that people, engineers want to go work at. So they are attracting the best of the best talent, they are vertically integrating, they have the highest pace innovation of any company in the world, in my opinion. They have about a $2 billion research and development spend. With that $2 billion, they created more basically innovation, I think, than a lot of companies are spending, where they're spending like 25 billion a year. Companies like Volkswagen and companies like Apple, they're spending anywhere from like 20 to 30 billion a year, and they're not producing anywhere close to the amount of innovation that Tesla's able to do with just $2 billion a year. When that increases, just imagine what they'll be getting done. They are the undisputed leader in EVs, and EVs are going to be going from 2% to 100% market share of cars in the next decade. By 2030, I expect every car to be sold will be an EV, and right now it's only 2%. So as market share grows, even if Tesla doesn't increase its market share of the EV market, because they already have such a massive market share, they're just going to year over year sell way more cars based on the demand for EVs continuously growing from here. And they are the leader in autonomy, real-world AI, and battery storage and batteries in general. That's my opinion. Obviously, the battery part is coming. 4680s are on the way. Autonomy is not 100% there, but based on if you watched Tesla AI Day, you can see how far ahead they are. They are doing things that no one else is even coming close to doing when it comes to autonomy, and they are using their vision stack for real-world AI, just like they showed basically being able to put that vision stack into a robot like the Tesla bot. So basically the potential of everything outside of EVs basically adds just all these extra possibilities for the stock to really increase if any of them work out. Now, I don't expect any, I basically plan like if none of these things work out except for just EVs growing, I want to make sure my investment is good regardless. Now, in 2020, Tesla sold 500,000 cars, and they plan to sell 20 million cars a year by 2030. This is a number coming directly from the CEO, from Elon Musk on Twitter. He has mentioned 20 million vehicles in 2030 per year. He has also mentioned 50% increase per year from 2020 through 2030. That gets you to 20 million vehicles. The math works out both ways. Now, due to vertical integration, advanced manufacturing capabilities, and selling direct to consumer versus a dealership model, Tesla has the ability to make far greater margins than any other automaker has ever made. Tesla is arguably competing in the largest total addressable market, and it's something like 8 out of 10 of the top companies by revenue are auto or energy companies. They just don't make the most profits. That's why they're not the largest market cap companies. But as far as revenue, they have more revenue than pretty much any companies, minus 1 or 2 companies. So basically, the total addressable market is humongous, and if you're able to make high profit on that market, which you get by having higher margins, which Tesla gets by getting rid of dealerships and basically making manufacturing advancements to be able to make a better car for cheaper, basically leads to the most profitable company in the world. That's basically how the math will end up working out if they succeed in doing all of this. Now, that all said, as I said before, Tesla's current market cap at around 700 billion is justified from the EV business and how much basically upside there is as they increase margins and increase production. Now, let's just get into some of their innovation here. This is the Tesla 4680 battery cell. 5 times the energy as the previous cell, 16% more range, 6 times more power, all in basically a cell that they created with no tab, it's tabless, basically dry electrode manufacturing. I mean, so much technology and so much advancement to the battery cell that is like nothing you've seen. Now, I'm just going to play a short video so you can see this video and you can see how advanced it is. They are producing the machinery. They basically say they don't just build the battery cell. They build the machine that builds the machine that builds the battery cell. So they literally, I mean, the vertical integration is insane. I mean, watch this video. Now, as you're watching it, you'll realize that one of the key things is that the batteries are constantly moving. One of the things they noticed that they can advance in battery technology is basically that this thing needs to be like going down the highway, like full speed ahead, no stopping, just constant movement. So they redesigned the entire system, and it's pretty incredible. And it basically produces their new battery called the 4680. The first product that this is going to be going into is the Tesla Model Ys coming out of Austin, Texas. So that's going to be the first one, and I believe also the ones coming out of Berlin. Then it'll eventually obviously go into Cybertruck, and in my opinion, at some point or another, it'll go into every car. But until the production is at that speed, Elon has said and Tesla has said that they plan to continue to use all their battery suppliers because they are battery constrained, and they want as many battery suppliers to make as many batteries as they can because they could use them all. They have the demand to fit them into power walls, mega packs, cars, etc. The only reason we don't have things like the Tesla semi-truck here today is because they basically are battery constrained. They take their batteries and they say we can either put this in a couple, 2 or 3 Model 3s, or we can put it in this one semi-truck. We'd rather get more cars on the road, more data collected, etc. Now, they don't just innovate on the battery cell level. They don't just innovate on the car level, the product level. They innovate on the factory level as well. They have figured a way to basically reduce the investment per gigawatt hour by 75%, and they'll be able to produce a terafactory instead of a gigafactory. So instead of their original factory producing 150 gigawatt hours, the new factory will have a 10 times smaller footprint per gigawatt hour, and it will be producing 1 terawatt hours. And these new factories, they are not small, they are massive. If you see, this basically shows you the sizes of each of their factories. They are building Giga Berlin and Giga Texas as we speak. Giga Texas is humongous, bigger than basically any other of their factories. Giga Berlin was basically bigger than any other factory before Texas got announced, and Giga Nevada and Giga Shanghai are humongous. I mean, this photo makes them look small, makes the Fremont factory or the Giga New York factory in Buffalo look small, but they're all huge. This is a photo, a rendering of the factory being built in Berlin right now. It is almost complete. There are cars actually in there being made right now. Humongous factory, beautifully designed. We're talking about a company innovating with such a low R&D spend in dollar amount compared to everyone else and doing so much with it. So basically, all in all, I think that Tesla will end up being the largest company in the world. To go through the numbers, watch my Tesla video. I have a video called Tesla Will Be the Largest Company in the World. I'm going to put the link in the description if you're curious to figure out how they get there and go deep down into the actual numbers. That's what I do in that video. Today, they're worth about $700 billion. I think we're going to still see a 5x or more from here. And the or more is really based on if Tesla will be able to complete FSD, so autonomy, if they're going to get into actually robotics like Tesla AI, example with the Tesla bot, and what else, other things, for example, if Tesla Energy, actually, Elon has said Tesla Energy will be as big as the auto business. If it actually ever became as big of the auto business, that doubles my market cap size already. But, I'm basically playing that they could be the largest company in the world strictly from their auto business. So going down the check marks, best in class product, yes. Fast pace of innovation, the fastest of any company. Great leadership, the best founder I know, and the best talent recruitment of any company in the world, and a history of doing the impossible, growing at insane rates. There's no one doing it the way Tesla does it, and that's why it's pick number 1. As far as pick number 2, we have here Disney. Disney is my second biggest pick for long-term investments. Now we're going to go over the allocations for Tesla and Disney at the end of this, but again, as far as a company that fits all my requirements to be able to basically own it, and not even if I didn't look at it for 10 years, I would be very confident in holding this company. So Disney, a lot safer than a company like Tesla, although I think both of them are extremely safe. I think that they are the perfect 2 companies to hold together for multiple reasons, which we'll get to at the end. As far as best in class for product, as an entertainment company as a whole, Disney owns the best intellectual property by far. Now that can be an opinion because you may think something's better than someone else, but as a whole company, they own so much IP, and as far as profits go, their intellectual property makes more dollars than any other company's characters combined. So, best in class product. They are the best also at the main point of saying best in class is they're not just the best products as far as love, but the best products at monetizing their IP through movies, shows, parks, products, licensing, hotels, cruises, and more. So I'm going to give a clear example of what Disney basically is just a master at doing. I'm going to use Star Wars for the example, but basically you could use Marvel, you could use a bunch of different characters, Mickey Mouse, whatever, and it pretty much goes across the board. So here's basically a photo I just put together, their IP process, I call it. Basically, they take something like Star Wars, they have the IP, they make movies out of it, as you can see on the left, they make shows like The Mandalorian that gets on Disney Plus. Then they bring it into the parks. You see we have Star Wars Land there, so they have attractions. They basically give you hotel experiences. They're creating the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, so it's a hotel experience where you feel like you're in a starship. You stay there for 2 nights. They let you buy products, so they put their products in, for example, lightsabers. They also make it an experience because they do so much about experiences. So you pick out the pieces, you build your own lightsaber, and what this is all doing is it's building more and more love for the brand as you're using and interacting with the brand. And then on the bottom right, I show basically this is a rendering on their new cruise ship, the Disney Wish ship. They basically have a bar for adults. It's a Star Wars themed bar. The windows are basically like screens like you're seeing outer space, and they have Star Wars types of drinks. And basically, this is just a few examples, but I mean, obviously you can go to toy stores and there's Star Wars toys there to buy. You could go to the Lego store and there's Star Wars Legos. I mean, it goes on and on. There are video games you can play, Star Wars video games made by EA Games, etc. So they are a master at basically taking intellectual property and spreading it across multiple categories to create a love for the product, a love for the brand, a love for the characters, and basically monetize that love better than anyone else. Now, I break Disney into 2 companies. I think of Disney as legacy Disney, and I think of Disney as the future Disney, which is streaming. Now, legacy includes basically parks, cruises, hotels, everything except streaming. And legacy is so important because, one, it's extremely profitable today, not just in the future. And it keeps, like I kept saying, this love for the characters and the brand, which will be used in the streaming part, which is basically where I think in the long term, Disney has this massive potential. So the legacy Disney alone, as an investment, I could sleep easy at night knowing I own that because it makes plenty of money. And we're talking about characters like Mickey Mouse that appeared in 1928, and their love for them have only grown stronger and stronger since for decades and decades. Now the parks, the cruises, the hotels, etc., all of that is going to continue to expand. They are making more cruise ships. They are adding more expansions to the parks and new hotels and new experiences. And in my opinion, that will continue to print cash and continue to increase the prices to tickets to the parks year by year like they've always done. And basically that business is just going to continue to grow and get stronger than ever. And that's why that business on its own is an amazing investment I wouldn't have a problem going to sleep holding. But streaming is where things start to get interesting. So streaming to Disney, it builds a case in which Disney can not just grow, year by year by a certain percentage, but it could become a multiple of itself. Like not just, like a 2x, a 3, 4, 5, 6x, 10x eventually at some point. It really gives it this potential opportunity to make so much money. The recurring subscription revenue that Disney will have on a worldwide scale will change the way that Disney is valued, and it will ultimately allow Disney to be a multi-trillion-dollar company at full scale. Now, I go deep into these numbers in a Disney analysis video I did. I'm going to put the link in the description if you were interested in seeing that, because that was like a 20-minute video, and I can't just add that for Tesla and for Disney here, because then this video could be like an hour long, and it's already pretty long as is. But if you want to get deep into the numbers of how we can value Disney just from the streaming portion at over $1 trillion, please watch that video. I go very deep into those numbers and I explain how it's easily going to happen, I think, over the long period of time. We're talking decades. We're talking 2030. We're not talking about quarter by quarter. Now, the most strategic investment made to make this all possible was that Disney acquired Fox. Now, when they acquired 21st Century Fox, that acquisition changed the future for Disney, in my opinion. And the reason was Disney was always a family-only brand. In other words, there were no rated R movies, no mature content coming out of the umbrella that was Disney. Now, with this limitation, they still always controlled the box office. They demanded the highest percentages from theater chains. They always had the biggest box office as far as dollar amounts and tickets sold of any other company. They always were basically leading the game. But in a world of streaming, Disney needed a new brand, this acquisition from Fox, 21st Century Studios, they bought the brand FX, all these companies that came along with that acquisition, they needed it so that they could create their own content that was mature content, content for adults, not just family, rated R movies, rated R shows. Things like Dave on Hulu or American Horror Story. These were things they could not make themselves before this acquisition. But now that they have this entire other umbrella that they own, they can put that in as a category to make to have access to all content, to be able to compete with Netflix on a massive scale. So how is Disney planning to get their product across to the whole world? They're doing it with a multiple strategy approach. And basically in the US, we see Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus. In India, they have Disney Plus Hotstar. That's also in parts of Asia and different things, different regions over there. In Europe, they have Disney Plus Star. Star is a brand that they're basically, instead of Hulu, they have Star where they put all of this content like FX content, etc. That's being bundled with Disney Plus as a single service in Europe. And then in South America, they are launching Star as a standalone app, and they have Disney Plus as a standalone app, separate apps for South America since Hulu is not in South America either. So they are trying all these different things. They're going to see which ones work for them, and then they're going to basically adapt from there. And many people don't realize how powerful this brand and content they own is. For example, in India, the Disney Plus Hotstar has the rights to a lot of cricket for the season. So, that sport cricket may not be popular in places like the US as much, but in India, it's so popular to watch cricket, and people sign up and they pay the year out because they want to be able to watch the cricket games. And then they get access to all the other content, and hopefully they fall in love with certain shows and this and that, and they stay for everything else. But basically, Disney owns sports rights and different things to basically hook users in. Now, in such a short time, how did Disney stack up against everyone else? Well, I'm just showing you here. They basically started their streaming ambition since about 2019 or so like 2 years ago for Disney Plus, etc. And they have, including Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu, they have 174 million subscribers. This is across those three brands. This is a humongous achievement. I mean, it's crazy how much they've grown so fast. When you compare that to Netflix, Netflix has 209 million subscribers. They started in 2007. Disney's already at 174 million. If you look at companies like Viacom CBS, which has like Stars and has, I believe, what's it called? So CBS All Access and Paramount Plus and all of that, they're combined about 42 million subs, and they've been doing it for a while. Others that compete, Amazon with Amazon Prime Video, but that's really like, and there's Apple TV Plus and all these things. But I look at those as more like a lot of people were subscribed to Amazon before Amazon Prime Video was like, it wasn't because of Amazon Prime Video, it's because they want 2-day free shipping or 1-day free shipping, and now they just get Amazon Prime Video with it. So it's like those companies have a great strategy for getting people to try the product because they basically just include it in with everything else. And that's a great strategy for them, and I don't fault them for it. But that said, I do believe that ultimately, if it came to where they're going to say, hey, you're going to have to pay a separate fee to have this, they're just not going to have as many subscribers as Netflix or Disney, I think, in my opinion, if they don't include it with everything else. Now, I think in the long run, people are going to have more than one subscription. I think it's not going to be long before Disney as a company surpasses Netflix in subscribers. I think Disney also has the expertise and the brand to bring things like news and sports into the mix in a much stronger way than they currently do, even with ESPN Plus and with their other products. So I think that they have some serious advantages over Netflix, I think, in the long run with their IP, with their sports licensing, etc. And if you want to dig deep in the numbers, like I said, definitely check out my video that goes strictly into Disney's stock analysis. I'm linking that video in the description, like I said, so you can check it out there. And ultimately, like I said, I do think people are going to have more than one subscription, and I expect that Disney is going to be the largest of all the companies as far as intellectual property, big box office numbers, the love for the brand. This company is going to continue to dominate, and I think have more subscribers when it comes to just a pure content subscription over anybody else. Now, when it comes to the pace of innovation at Disney, Disney shows its innovation through making strategic acquisitions, moving into streaming, buying BAMTech to make it happen to get the technology. It is building some super high-tech things at Disney Imagineering, which I'm going to put some video up so you can see that. It has some insane properties, technologies for things like hair movement and animation, deep fakes, bringing people, that basically may have passed away, bringing those actors back on the screen for something. They have the technology built to do that. Now, most don't think of Disney as a tech company, but if you look under the hood, there's some extremely high technology going on in this company. And that includes their work with animatronics, robotics, having things basically move and do things on a very mechanical level, physical engineering, their rides, being able to have very, autonomous intellectual rides that they have. They even built a lightsaber that basically is a real life one, like the laser comes up, which we're apparently going to see in the Star Wars Hotel for the first time. And as you can see here, they built this robot for the Spider-Man jump going over Avengers Campus. So they have a lot of innovation. It may be different than the typical tech company, but they basically are innovating a lot under the hood, and I expect to see a lot more of interesting things coming out of Disney Imagineering. And then that brings us to leadership. Disney has some amazing leadership. I give it an A+ for management across the board. Now, Disney's obviously not founder-led, not by Walt Disney. That was a long time ago, but basically they have had so many years building up massive amounts of very high-quality, high-skilled employees that have grown within the company. So Robert Iger was the past CEO. He's now the executive chairman on the board, and he gave CEO to Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek has been in this company since 1993. That is the year I was born, just to give an example of how long he's been at Disney. He's mainly been leading at parks, etc., but now he's running the whole company. I think Iger is going to go down, in my opinion, as one of the best CEOs ever. All these amazing acquisitions, acquiring Marvel, acquiring Pixar, turning Disney really into the company it is as far as the best IP house in the world. And I think Chapek is basically focusing, one, on streaming, which I think is the correct focus, and two, he has this clear action to make things more profitable. He's redone the entire parks business basically right now. With that shutdown, he was able to do things like change the annual pass program to make it more profitable, get rid of fast passes and make it where you pay to skip a line, for example, with this Genie Plus app. So they're doing things that are very innovative and basically going to make the bottom line just get more and more profitable. Now, time will tell how he does as CEO ultimately, but I believe he will do very well for shareholders. And I think Bob Iger, who's an excellent man at the job, he worked alongside him for a while, and he picked the right guy, I think. Now, as far as history of high quality performance, Disney had incredible growth for this stock for many, many years, and streaming is about to take it to a new level, in my opinion. As you can see, this company continuously has grown over the long period of time, and there was this basically like flat time, somewhere around 2012 to 2017, 18-ish. In that time period, there were these companies like Apple, Google, Amazon just skyrocketing higher. And Disney was kind of just not, it wasn't doing bad, but it just wasn't really going up a lot yet. And it wasn't until 2019, kind of when Disney Plus got announced, etc., really pushed this stock to kind of take that next leg up. And I think this is just the start of a exponential rise up with streaming. So now the fun part, my allocation size. So because I feel that both of these companies are in early stages of massive disruption as far as like EV adoption, autonomy coming, and then the streaming business just in its early stages for Disney. So these things for Tesla, these things for Disney, I feel at ease holding huge allocations in these companies because I've modeled out many scenarios how it could go forward, and I'm very happy with all of these scenarios. I'm happy to hold these companies for years and years till 2030 without issue of, what's going to happen in the next quarter, because quarter by quarter issues are not what this company is working on. Both of these companies are working on things that are going to basically present themselves in massive profits in the long run. So Tesla first. I have about 30% of my entire account as of right now in Tesla stock. Now, this is a huge allocation. I am aware of that. Now, the reason I do it, like I said, all the reasons we went back to, we're not going to go through all of it, but basically, I've held a lot of these shares from a long time ago at a much, much lower price. But yes, I have recently even added to this position. I have cash flow that comes in, and I don't mind adding when I think this stock has so much potential over the long run. Now, for AI Day, that really convinced me that FSD in autonomy is definitely going to happen. It was not, I didn't model it for happening when I wanted to make sure of my investment, but if it happens, it really takes my models to a whole new level. And that really just made me go, you know what, let me just buy some more shares. I have the cash. Now, when it comes to Disney, it gets a little more intense. So for Disney, my entire account, I just did the math, it's about 40% of my entire account. I've been adding to Disney like crazy on this drop recently when I had just a tiny dip. And it's because I feel Disney is an extremely safe bet. It's both a reopening play and a stay at home play. But the streaming business, it gives me a clear path in my mind to over $1 trillion in market cap, possibly over $2 trillion once the ARPU gets high enough. And we can go over those numbers in the the Disney analysis video, which is in the link in the description. So both of these together, Tesla and Disney, they consist of 70% of my total account. It is a massive, massive position. And the reason is this: I have always preferred to own 5 to 10 stocks that I know everything about versus having like 100 stocks and you really just don't know anything about any of them. You know a little bit about them. But I rather own a small handful of companies that I know every single detail about their company. And the 30% left of my account is spread amongst a few stocks that I have extremely high conviction in. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I can have basically high dollar amounts in these lower percentage stakes that represent very meaningful positions to me, even though they're not the majority of my account. As far as dollar amounts, they're still, very large sizes, and I'm very happy with them. Now, I do have cash flow from my current businesses other than my investing, which investing is my main career. It is where most of my income comes from. But that said, I have a lot of businesses that I have operating that produce cash flow. So from those current businesses, I basically have excess cash that needs to be deployed, and I don't have an issue deploying it in places I feel safe for the long run, and also into these other companies that I believe in, but I have to just keep a stronger eye on. Now, I look at Tesla and Disney as perhaps the perfect match. And the reason is Tesla is trying to change the world. So they're going to take extreme risks to make that happen. And I believe they have the engineering abilities to pull it off. Now, Disney is going to be extremely responsible about every decision they make. That's the way their management is basically wired. And both companies are best in class for their respective businesses. So you have these amazing top of the line per category companies, and one with this like let's change the world attitude and take big risks to make huge, huge gains over the long run and huge change, and another that's like, okay, we have the best product, let's play this safe, let's do this right, and let's be very, very managing the risk reward tolerance for our investors. So anyways, thank you for watching. That is why I wanted to show you my 2 biggest investments. This video got longer than I expected. If you watched to the end, you better smash that like button. I appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. Thank you so much for coming and watching this video. And if you haven't heard yet, we are giving away a free pair of AirPods at 2,000 subscribers. So definitely subscribe and help make that happen and share our videos. Thank you. Until next time.